Welcome to Grace and Lottie's Elizabeth here, ready to look at another app for our Tech Tuesdays. Today's is going to be Coloring Book by Color Collab. Now, Color Collab reached out to me to ask me to review their app, and I'm like, sure, I'll take a look at it. So, looking real quick here in the App Store, they've got a 4.4 out of 5 stars. Looks pretty good. You can read all of those beautiful features there now. I will jump into those here in a minute, but one of the things that kind of caught my eye with this one is that they are working with artists, specifically a lot of tattoo artists. And one of those is Chris Nunez. You might have seen him over on InkMasters or Miami Ink. He's been on there for a while. And so he's one of the artists in this app. And so they've working with that. So that's the type of art you're going to see in this one. Now we'll jump over there in a minute, but you can see a lot of this that most of the reviews are good. You can look at all those. A couple of things saying buggy. I did run into some bugs. I will let you know that, and I'll go through those once we get there. But none of them were deal breakers. Let me just put it that way real quick. But, you know, as with most apps, you find a bug or two. But so jumping into it, you can see, oh, it is a vertical app. First of all, it does not work in landscapes. So know that when you're going to work. Now, I prefer ones that can work in both. I like to work more comfortably in landscape. Now, here's the first bug that I kind of think is you see all of these headers and no art in them. So that was a little bit of a bummer there because I do like being able to see what artwork I'm going to be working on. But right up here in the simple, there were a couple. I'm like, okay, let's look and see what we got. And I picked the Daruma doll that's right there, and it's by Jeff Sirsick. You can find out more about him if you go to the artist directory page that they have right there. You can see a little bio about that. And I will have something in my story about that, both here on Instagram and why this picture kind of meant something to me. So look at this. You can see here they give you a nice little easy tutorial, easy to find again if you need it, for how to work with all of this. It was pretty straightforward. I did find that a lot of times when I wanted to say I was done with something, I would hit that green check mark up in the corner and it would go to the collab. And I was like, no, I didn't want to go to collab. I just wanted to say I was ready to go back to my work. And so user error there quite a bit. And you'll see me as I'm going through this, that happens. Now with this piece, I decided to work first off with the basic colors that are sitting right down there at the bottom. I started with the bucket fill, just the fill tool. I like to start there just so I can kind of lay out where I'm going with it. Here you can see all of the brushes that are there that you can use that are super cool. They are behind the paywall. Today we're only going to be looking at the free version. I'll look at the paid version next week. So with this one, we get a fill, a basic brush, and an eraser. So we'll start with the bucket fill. And I thought red seemed like a good color, so I'm going to jump in there. So rather than me doing a voiceover with all the bucket tools, we'll speed this up and we'll come back in just a second. Now, if you paid much attention, you noticed that sometimes I had a little bit of trouble with the color selector. I found that my Apple Pencil didn't like to necessarily register real well with it when I was trying to pick a color, so I'd have to tap the color with my finger. And if I used my finger, it did fine. Also, as I was going through, I had some issues with some fields being locked together. So when I would paint one, it would paint another. And that was a little bit frustrating, but there is a workaround for that. And I kind of jump ahead here and show you guys the workaround that I found that was kind of easy with this is that I would just use the marker tool to kind of color it back in. So that made it easier to kind of fix than trying to go back and forth or trying to make two things that shouldn't be the same color, although I did do that with one of the areas because I was like, I am done trying to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So after I did all of the inking, I did come in with the spray tool, and I absolutely adored the spray tool in this. That spray tool to me was my it's one of my favorite tools I think I've seen in any app. And I just liked how I was able to do so much with that one tool, just to be able to do shading and things like that. And I even was smooth with it, which was kind of interesting. So doing those tools or those effects was very satisfying with this one. And I don't think I can say enough how much I really liked the spray paint tool, the spray can. And a lot of times the spray can tools tend to be a little bit messy or hard to work with. This one, to me, seemed like the perfect way just to create a little bit of dimension, a little bit of texture without it being clunky. So just want to throw that out there that it was very, very satisfying. I was able to create a lot of effects, a lot of shading and highlighting with it. So just know that that is there and I loved it. Now, I will show you a little peeks of my piece. And I was planning on just teasing that I would have the finished piece over on my Instagram. But because of a couple of the issues that I ran into, like with this one, I ran into an issue with when it wanted to render in the collab doesn't show all of it. Now they're looking into it, figuring out why this one messed up, but I've already deleted the app and re-downloaded it when I did the paid version, which will be next week. So I don't even have access to the picture anymore. I just have the video copy that I made right here of it. So it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. I enjoyed it. Now I want you to notice something too. Have you guys seen an ad yet? There were no ads. Do you know how wonderful it was to have no ads while I was trying to do this? It was one of those things I didn't realize it while I was working because I was working and it was just going straight and everything was nice. And then later I thought, wait a minute, there wasn't a single ad. I'm not going to have to mute an ad because I've actually gotten a copyright claim from an ad before, which is pretty funny. But how wonderful that was. I was like, yes, no ads. I was able to just work and get it done. And so know that when you're going into it, that you're not going to get bombarded every 30 seconds when you lift up the tool or when you're trying to look at a artwork or whatever with ad after ad after ad. So that is great. Now let's jump into the paid features over here real quick. Now you can see in this, they have a setup for the 3 days that you can do. I've actually saw that go up to 14. Let me see. I'm going to double check real quick, make sure that's still going on right now. Mine are still showing unlocked. So yeah, it is still going for 14 days right now. But I ran into a little bit of an issue with that I got a thing from Apple saying that it was 3 days. So I did cancel it, but my free trial is still going more than 3 days later. So I think it's giving you the 14 days. But I would just make sure to turn off your subscription at the end of at the end of the 3, just to be safe. Better safe than sorry. Now, a couple of things that they do have here is they do have a Discord community. I'm going to jump into that here later, and that will be as part of my paid version review. I'm going to go through the Discord community and some of the other things. They do ask that when you share your art pieces, if you show them over on Instagram or anything, tag the artists that you did. That's one of the reasons they share the artists here. You can share them and tag them and then just kind of build the community a little bit more around this, which I thought was great that they had this community that they're working to set up and legitimately not just hey, we have a community, and some people say they have a community, but it's not a full community. But by doing this Discord and that, they're working to create that. Now, you can see as I'm back when I was working, and still am working, I've got it kind of going underneath as I'm talking here too, that the basic colors seem to work pretty well. Now they do have some paid palettes down there that you can use. I found all the basic colors I needed and knowing how to kind of layer them to create effects that I didn't necessarily need many more colors, which is great. I did have to search for them a little bit more, going back and forth, but the color wheel, nice, but not 100% necessary on this. I found that it worked pretty well. Another little mini issue I had was that my hand kept wanting to leave marks when I was working. So you can see a couple of these marks here that would happen in the spray can. So to help get rid of those, I would just simply use that spray can again with the colors that had been layered in it and just kind of work to blend those away. It seemed like the easiest way to do it. I didn't want to completely erase and take it down to white. So just wanted to kind of share that little thing. And I totally chalk this one up to user error because I tend to smudge my hand all over everything. If you watch this channel, you know that is something that is pretty regular when I'm creating, is that I will smear gel pen. I will smear paint. I smear everything. So it was kind of fitting that this was happening in my digital world as well. So I just wanted to show you guys the quick fix there. I think that about covers it for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please be sure to do that, like and share, and click that subscribe button. I've noticed that some of you have been unsubscribed, and I just want you to make sure that that has not happened to you, as well as you want to be subscribed and have the notifications on so that you can see what the paid version looks like when I go through all the different brushes and what those look like. And we dive a little bit deeper into the app there, as well as looking at some different art, and we do another piece from it. I'm looking forward to that, as well as next week. Part of the way they reached out to me is I have a special offer. So you want to be seeing that video next week so that you can take advantage of that as well. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, bye.